Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
And the Panthers missed the throw there as Burrell will be able to score from third. McCulley had Burrell in a pickle there. She came up with the ball from McFarland, and Spring Hill moves ahead by one more run. It's a 7-5 lead for the Broncos.
Fastball hit high in the air, deep to left center field. Nelson Velasquez sends it up and out. A solo home run into the fountain seats in left center.
Well, his stuff was great, right out of the gate. His changeup, we know how good it is. He was getting swing and miss on the fastball, too. Looked like, they had to honor the changeup.
Got to play on a great baseball team for the last 3 years, and the last 2 years have been exceptionally fun, growing as a team and watching the younger kids step up.
It means a lot to know that, me and Grattan could lead our own team to the state tournament again. Last year it was Chase, Layton, and MJ's team, and
Of course, I was expecting to win, and I knew my game was feeling pretty good going into the tournament, so I thought I had good chances to win it. It felt nice. I could kind of take it all in on the back nine because I had a pretty comfortable lead then, so it felt nice to enjoy it.
Most of all, good for the young guys that are here. Not only to get exposed to the veteran players, but just to see how much faster it goes than rookie minicamp. Rookie minicamp is fairly vanilla, just so they get the concepts down, and then we start adding on to it here.
Jab step from Doncic, shot clock at 10. Poked away McDaniels. Luka gets it back with 7 to shoot. Penetrates right side, puts up a ball away that's good from the right wing from 15 feet.
He told me a story that he told his mom. They were driving the car somewhere, and he was in kindergarten. Out of the blue, he told his mom, he's like, I'm going to grow a mustache when I get older. So he's had this desire of the mustache since kindergarten.
We bring you the latest breaking news here on Sports Day. Welcome in. It is a Thursday show. Steve Webster, Mike Corson is back with us today. Vitamin C Man is back. He surprised me this morning on the AM Great Ben show. And Mike Hescher's here. He surprised me, too. The things we have to deal with to put on a show around here, Hesh. Mike Corson just comes wandering in. Is it supposed to smell like burning stuff in the TOC, which is the Transmitter Operations Control Center?
It is the heartbeat of the station.
As one who'd like to tinker with electronics once, I burned up some things, and I know that metallic smell.
So we will be on for the next hour, maybe. Okay? Unless the building's catching on fire, just so we'll give you a heads up out there. Welcome into the Thursday show. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Great Bend Lady Panthers right now playing in the 5A state tournament. It's getting late there. Cole Reif will be joining the show from the Rose. He heads to Manhattan for Houston's first-round state baseball game against Sabetha. And the cat's out of the bag. I talked to Cole about 35 minutes ago. And the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Walbrock, joins us one more time before the Sports Day summer break to talk all things Fort Hays State. But let's get to our sounds the past 24 hours or so. Aaron Clark with a call on B1043 The Point, probably about 15, 20 minutes ago. Spring Hill scoring on a Panther error. It was part of a 3-run fifth inning. They took the lead 7-5. And Mike Corson with the latest.
Not good, Steve. Bases loaded, 1 out, so a hit batter and 2 doubles. Spring Hill is now up 13-5 with a 6-run sixth.
Wow.
So Great Bend
was ahead 5-4 going to the bottom of the fifth inning, and Spring Hill takes the lead. That's the number 1 seed in the 5A state tournament, so big rally here, down the last 3 outs. So
would have been huge news always when the 8 beats the 1. That was a loaded bracket where you go in with 6 losses and you were the 8 seed. So you knew there were going to be some quality teams up and down, but always fun to see the 8 beat the 1. It was happening, and then it wasn't. Yeah, 9 runs in 2 innings.
Wow.
Still going.
Still going right now, and Spring Hill still batting?
They've got 2 outs with a runner on third.
Okay. All right. We'll keep you updated. We'll have a final as soon as that comes into us. How fast do you think Landon can run down from the studio? Well, Corson's on it here. But I still want to see Landon run down with the score.
Just had another double, so now 14-5, bottom of 6.
Well, it may not last till the 7th. Hopefully it does. Okay. Jake Eisenberg, the call yesterday. On KVGB, Nelson Velasquez hits a solo home run to left center. That gave the Royals a 3-0 lead. Do you know they go on to cruise to an 8-3 win over Detroit. They sweep the 3-game series at Kauffman Stadium. They sweep the 6-game homestand. They did not trail. The last time they trailed was when they wrapped up that series at Seattle last week. Not only sweeping the series, they never were behind as they sweep the Tigers.
Fun stuff. Now it's been the pitching. Now seeing some more runs and the pitching.
Yeah.
Now little heads are not just our heads, but the national heads might be turning a little bit.
They ought to be.
But that Central, oof, playing that hot and not gaining any ground.
Yeah, Cleveland's won 6 in a row. They swept the Mets. Wrapped up yesterday with a 6-3 win. Royals a game and a half behind. You heard Mac Quatrero talking about Cole Reagans. He wasn't bad. 6 innings, career best 12 strikeouts, and held the Tigers hitless until Riley Green's 2-out single in the 6th inning. Hesh?
Boys are playing some ball. That's all I can say. The one that got me was, let me think about this. I just went away. So let me think about what I was going to say.
We ought to just have a segment on this show, Hesh, that you and me we'll call it Fleeting Thoughts.
We'll see.
Where we think we've got something to say, and then we can't grasp onto it a little bit. But, that's why we have Corsten, and we have the young guy on the program.
I know what it was.
Okay.
Okay.
Get it. Say it.
Okay, you know how it is. They say 500 record on the road and win at home, right? Did I hear there are 13 games over 500 as a whole, right?
Yeah.
There are 21-8, which is 13 games over 500. So they're doing exactly what you need to do to be a winning team.
I think so. And we actually yesterday. Excuse me, I had a sneeze. We talked about the records, so we did give you cred that you're the only person out of how many 10 Hesh that picked the Royals with a winning record. We don't need to go through them all right now.
It's a long season, and I'm still concerned. I don't know, because Detroit is not one of the powerhouses in the Central, and I think they just struggled against Detroit. So it's going to be crucial. You're going to have all those games, and evidently they're mid to back end loaded against Cleveland. Those are going to be all of a sudden fun games that teams maybe you didn't care about the last 6 years.
Yeah, well, that's coming up. I mean, they go to Tampa tomorrow to start a 3-game series against the Rays, and then Hesh. That was a fleeting thought yesterday that you threw out. Can you reclaim that fleeting thought?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
After this, I mean, I don't know in order, but they do have the Yankees in the next 23 games. I believe they have the Guardians probably for a 6 in the next 23 games. They have the Twins in there as well. And it's a tough schedule for the next 23 or so games.
Yeah, this is a 7-game road trip. They're starting tomorrow night. They'll have 3 in Tampa, and then they go to Minnesota where they have a 4-game series starting with a Memorial Day contest on Monday. So, yeah, this is fun. Last year we'd already put the Royals to bed by this time, hadn't we? I mean,
yes, we had.
Probably a month back.
And just the thing about you remind me so much of Mike Marzoff because he always would make these bold predictions, and they would come through like once every 9 years.
And
but then you always forget it. But then, yeah, you say, I told you that.
No, even Sports Illustrated nailed the whole Houston run a couple of years before it happened. They had kind of talked about Kansas City being the powerhouse, I think, 1 or 2 years ago. It never happened, but that was my sense of optimism, was the guys who do know.
But
so
now those guys that they were counting on making that run happen aren't there.
Right,
now.
so this year I kept my optimism because they made so many off-season moves that seemed like they could work.
Go with
So
the
far,
veteran
so good.
pitchers, sign Bobby Witt to a long-term contract, and everything will be great.
Okay, just to clarify, Matt Bright had him in 81 and 81.
Yeah, but
They're
that's
the
not,
only-
winning, that's
that's
a
not
winning-
over 500.
Yeah, that's not a winning record. 500. Come on. All right, let's get to other sounds. Senior Grattan Dalton, Houston Cardinals. When you're a senior and you're playing your last hurrah, it was good to see the young kids step up and step in.
Next thing you know, he'll be saying, "Get off my yard."
It happens fast. And Grattan Dalton's had a great season, and he'll be there today when the Houston Cardinals take on Sabetha later today, and it'll include Tony Moore. end of a stellar athletic career. Hopefully it's not today. Hopefully they'll play 3 games up in Manhattan. Again, we'll have that game for you on B1043, The Point, starting around 5:30. That'll be the last game of the day, so that schedule, depending on how those other games go, could be delayed a little bit, but that'll be on 100.7 Eagle Country. And a programming note, if the Cardinals would win, they would play tomorrow in the 1:15 game, and that will be on Hits 106.9, okay? We have state track reports on KHOK tomorrow. So when they win today against Sabetha, remember, Cardinals on Hits 106.9 tomorrow. Andy Reid, about the only question he asked or answered yesterday was about the Chiefs starting their voluntary workouts this week. Good turnout in Kansas City, but that was kind of his summary, and then everybody else started, well, what about Harrison Butker? What about Rashee Rice? Well, I'll just let everything, the situation play out. That was the rest of the press conference. But Andy Reid saying it's a little bit faster tempo for the rookies who came in for rookie minicamp, things like that. So Chief football's underway again.
And I know once the season starts, man, my ankle hurts, but I'm the new guy. I don't want to give up my spot. I'm getting playing time. He's already injured. So being a professional athlete, do they really take the time to get him healed up because these things don't really matter? Or is it still he's got that pressure on him? I'm the new guy here, and I'm already sitting. That'd be their first-round pick.
So he's already hurt?
He had tweaked the hamstring is what they were saying this morning.
Man, the
And you don't want to be that guy.
No, the hamstring.
But, yeah, so I'd say forget all the pressure. Let the guy heal. You picked him in the first round for a reason. Don't put too much pressure on him to do something stupid.
Yeah, but isn't that something you're rookie and you tweak a hamstring?
But you see,
these
guys
are voluntary workouts. It's not.
You get hurt. So many athletes don't pan out. They're always injured. And like, oh, is he a lemon?
Kadarius Toney, does he come to mind? Another guy that's he's got immense time. He can't stay on the field. That's a
reliability is the best ability. Correct?
Good fleeting thought.
No, we do have a final in softball.
Okay.
14-5, Spring Hill beats Great Bend.
Man, and the Panthers had a 5-4 lead go to the bottom of the 5th inning, so they competed very well. Hopefully, there's some solid seniors on that team, but, man, this team's loaded for the
Yeah, I don't think we've heard it is unfortunate because that group has been through a lot, but, yeah, a lot to look forward to.
All right. NBA playoffs last night. The call on KVGB. Luka Doncic scoring a mid-range fadeaway jumper late in the fourth quarter. The Mavericks beat the Timberwolves in Minnesota 108-105. Game 1 of the NBA Western Conference Finals. Tonight, because the Royals are off, we'll bring you Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. In Boston, the Celtics leading the Pacers 1-0. We'll have that for you starting at 6:30 here on KVGB. And our last call, or last cut, because I did not ask Tony Moore on Tuesday when they were in here. I was the only guy. I had my questions written out, and that was one. The only one I had, and then I didn't ask him. It was, how long have you had that mustache? I think it's been since 8th grade, since I remember it. But so Cole Reif, I talked to for this interview, he's on the road, so we have that coming up. And he said, well, I can't tell you how long he's had it. He can't remember. He had it when he's a freshman. But he did have the nugget of when he decided that he wanted to grow the mustache. I mean, that's solid breaking news for you, being a news fella.
He told me a story that he told his mom. They were driving the car somewhere, and he was in kindergarten. Out of the blue, he told his mom, he's like, I'm going to grow a mustache when I get older. So he's had this desire of the mustache since kindergarten.
I just wanted to be a fireman.
There's a few jobs.
Yeah, what do you want to be? Well, I don't really care what I am. I just want to have a mustache.
One of Cole's great calls called it the crumb catcher. But if you look, you see Tony, the mustache never changes, so he's either maintaining or it doesn't grow much anymore.
Those are sounds of the past 24 hours. Lady Panthers fall today, 14-5, 5A state softball tournament. Coming up, Cole Reif will preview Hoisington and Sabetha tonight. Also to come. Oh, yes, we have Drew Hines on today. 2A state golf champion. I like that cut, too. Well, yeah, I knew I was probably going to win. Yep, He shot 66, won by 8 shots, and that came up with a 74 on the second day at Mariah Hills.
Yeah, a lot of higher scores on the second day, but he still came in 3 strokes below everybody else, so he actually gained up to an 8-stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-time runner-up, beat the kid that beat him last year, and he got to golf with him both days. Kind of fun.
Rubbed his nose in it a little bit.
He said he didn't.
I'm sure Drew is a very good sportsman, unlike the host of this show. Okay.
Let me ask you, Topeka Per Caravelle Latin School, have you ever heard of it?
Yes.
Okay, they got 3rd place. So I've seen them in the classifications. I've never seen anything else from that school, but they
And who won?
Sacred Heart out of Solano won their 9th straight.
Oh, okay. Just wonder what courses they're playing on. Okay, all right. Cole Rife coming up from the road next.
Barton Community College enrollment days are back. Registration is now available for all sessions through July 24th. Make the enrollment process fun, fast, and simple. Reserve your spot to get everything set up for the fall semester in just one day. Visit with an academic and financial advisor, enroll in classes, take a tour of campus, and more. Visit enroll.bartoncccc.edu to sign up.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of Your Local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Tracks to the Max is in full swing, and today you can become an instant finalist at Eldridge Fencing. Brought to you by Sutherland's, Farmers Bank and Trust, Eldridge Fencing, and Ealer Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Stop by 80 East 10th Street and get yourself qualified before 5 o'clock today. And Wally and the gang, they've got deals on deals on deals. We're talking up to $300 off select Traeger grills, $30 off the Traeger meter, and cash and carry deals on all fencing. Plus, you could be the one driving away in that Cayenne Orange Chevy Trax on August 9th. Come on in today, Eldridge Fencing. They've got the deals on the grills and the fencing, plus all the things that you need to go with them. Stop on in, get qualified. Tracks to the Max, brought to you by Sutherland's, Farmers Bank and Trust, Eldridge Fencing, and Ealer Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Qualified today until 5 o'clock, again at Eldridge Fencing at 80 East 10th Street in Great Bend. And as Wally says,
Eldridge for the biggest room at your house.
He's the voice of Hoisington High School football, the Barton County Cougars, and the king of the tweeter machine. It's Cole Rife on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Sports Day also brought to you in part all year long by the Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country. Also by Venture Corporation, reminding you to help a neighbor, shop local when you can. And by Equity Bank. Note ATM fees nationwide. Learn more at equitybank.com. All right, later on this afternoon, it will be the Hoisington Cardinals in Manhattan. They'll take on Sabetha, first round of the 3A state tournament. The guy will be calling the game on 100.7 Eagle Country. Is the voice of Hoiston baseball today, and hopefully for tomorrow as well. Cole Rife joining us from the road today. So you ready to go here? One thing good about going to this tournament, I guess, Cole, would be that you don't have to have a chair and a folding card table in at least I would hope that would be the case going to Toyton Family Stadium.
It kind of makes me uncomfortable. I mean, like we talked about. I mean, like during the spring, like that's the time where you have a nice card table pushed up against a chain link fence, or if you're like luxurious like Russell, last week or a couple weeks ago in regionals, they actually had the netting because they've done some nice things over there at Schaefer Field. So, but yeah, it makes me uncomfortable being in an actual press box later on tonight. So we'll see how it goes. But I think I'll settle in pretty nicely.
All right, the Cardinals, we had Eric Steiner in, Tony Moore, and Grattan Dalton on the show this week. It's kind of an interesting mixture. I don't think I've ever known a infielder and 305 sprint car racer, on a high school team. It's kind of an interesting combination there with Grattan.
Yeah, I mean, Grattan's been a stud. I mean, you just look at what he did at regionals in Russell, and he went 3 for 8 in those 3 games against regionals. He had a double, he had 3 RBIs, he walked a couple times. He has the longest active hit streak for Hoisington coming into the state tournament. He's hit safely in 6 straight games. I mean, he's seen his batting average go from low 200s now to the mid 200s. He's had an RBI in 3 straight games. I mean, you can go on and on the stats. I mean, Grattan Dalton's been solid this year, and obviously defensively, he's been pretty good on the mound. I mean, they've had Tony Moore and Preston Rote be kind of their 2 main guys, but Grattan Dalton's been there. That's pitched well. So they have a lot of depth, and, Grattan's part of that, and Tony, only 2 seniors. But I liked in that interview you had with them, and they mentioned, hey, last year's team was kind of Layton's and MJ's and Chase's team, and now is their kind of responsibility to take this team on their shoulders. And they've delivered. I mean, there's only 2 seniors, and they're going to go up against a Sabetha team that has 13 seniors on this year's team. So it'll be fun. I mean, you look at the bracket. Like, I mean, you just look at those teams, like Sabetha, Topeka Hayden, Heston's had success here, but, Frontenac, even Burlington. I remember Marysville has had those teams with the Legion teams that had a lot of success. Maryville is familiar. Wichita Trinity, that academy's had success. They've won a state championship not too long ago. So, like, you talk about powerful name brand teams in Class 3A. I mean, that bracket's full of them, and it doesn't get any better than with Sabetha and Hoisington. The only 2 teams that are returning to the state tournament from last year square off in the first round at 5:45 tonight.
Okay, tell me about the Sabetha team. You said they got some experience.
Yeah, a lot of experience. I mean, a team that went 19-5 last year, obviously made it to state last year. They lost to Wichita Collegiate, eventual state champion, a year ago in the first round. They were the 5 seed that year, so they got bumped up to the 3 seed this year. 19-5. They got off to that rocky start, but they played good teams, just kind of like Hoisington did in that stretch. They lost their first 3 games of the season, but 2 were against Rock Creek, who is in the state tournament in Class 4A. And then you have a loss to Burlington, who's also in a state tournament as well. So that was their first 3 losses that started out the year. Then they went on the win streak. They've won 8 straight games coming into state. They have a couple losses. They lost to Holton, and then they lost to Jefferson West. But outside of that, 19-5, went through their regional with not as much ease as Hoisington, but they had to beat Jefferson West on their home field in the semifinals and regional. Then they knocked off the only undefeated team that was in Class 3A in regionals was Bishop Ward out of Kansas City, and they were able to knock them off in the championship game in regionals 4-1. So they had some closer games, but obviously they've seen some good competition, just like Hoisington has. And we mentioned the 13 seniors and a team that puts up a decent amount of runs. They average about 8 runs per game, and kind of like Hoisington, they got a couple stud pitchers. I mean, so I'll be interested to see who they go with this evening for their starting pitcher, because they have their choices, but you look at their 2 main ones, Kramer Mitchell. One of just a few juniors on this team, 4-0 record. His ERA is under 1 on the season with over 28 innings pitched. Then they got Christian McAfee, one of the seniors, 5-0 record, ERA of under 1.9, and he started 6 games and 34 innings pitched and 36 strikeouts. So, I mean, they got 2 really good guys. So we talk about Tony Moore, Preston Rowe. They have their 2 guys in Mitchell and McAfee. So, yeah, I mean, it's a Sabetha team that carries the name of history, and they got some talent again this year, and they've been there, done that, so Hoisington will definitely have their hands full, but I like the matchup.
Okay, so I asked Eric Steiner, said, well, Tony's going to start, isn't he? And he said, yeah, but he had the look on, like, my grandson Parker's face, said, did you take the candy out of that dish? Okay, I don't know. I mean, you get this time of year, people monkey around with their pitching staff some, but I don't know. It's tempting.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, for the first round, and there's always that conversation of, okay, who you're going to face in the semifinals. Here's my thought just on the way the bracket laid out for Hoisington. It's not to say that, Wichita Trinity isn't really good. Obviously, we know how good Heston is, for potential matchups down the road. But, like, there's not going to be a team that's going to be that much better than Sabetha that Hoisington will face in the state tournament. That's not to say, they can't get knocked off by anybody, but, like, Sabetha ranks up there with just the rest of those guys, the rest of those teams. So, like, you have to get by this one. So, like, for me, like, I have no problem sending out your ace and then, Tony being done, if they're able to win, being done for the rest of the tournament. I have no problem with that because Sabetha stacks up there just as much as Wichita Trinity and Frontenac and Topeka Hayden and Heston. So you have to get by this one. And I don't want to say they made that mistake, but they made that decision last year where they, were maybe overthinking things, and they didn't send out their ace last year, ended up losing 4-1 to Humboldt in the first round last year. So I don't think they're going to make that same decision this year. I think Tony's going to get that start. I mean, he's won 4 straight, 5-1 record. I mean, his performance against, Russell in the first round of the regionals was good, but then he trumped that even more so in the semifinals against Holcomb. That performance was impressive. I mean, 7 innings, gave up 7 hits, but 4 runs, but had 9 strikeouts in that outing. So, I don't think there's any question that Tony gets a start.
Okay, I'm going to treat Hayden like I do Pitt Colgan. So I'll take – Hayden's going to beat Heston, okay? I know Heston's got one of the best pitchers in the state, but it's Hayden. So I don't think Hoyston will have to face Heston for the 3rd time. I don't know. I'm just going to go with the Pitt Colgan rule.
It'd be nice to have a CKL matchup in the semifinals, though. So I'm going to root for the Swathers.
Well, okay, that's good. And then I hope all the Heston fans sit right in front of your booth.
Oh, that would be nice redemption. Now, Hoisington football has beat Heston since that playoff game in 2016 that you're referring to. But it would be pretty nice to be surrounded by Heston folks, and Hoisington was advancing to a state championship game. Yes.
Okay.
That's down the road. That's down the road.
It's kind of funny. You mentioned Marysville has always been a very good Legion program in AA. Sabetha has been the same thing. And so there's that baseball tradition in these communities that still are playing Legion baseball. There's not many of those anymore.
No, it's dwindling for sure. And I think Sports in Kansas put something out, and Kansas pregame might have jumped on it as well, where just the difficulty of what the smaller classes go through as far as making it to state tournaments. And when you look at just the pure number of teams that are in the smaller classes, and you have regionals that have maybe 2 or 3 teams that could be worthy of going to the state tournament, but obviously can't, with only 8 being selected. And then you go into the upper classes, 4A, 5A, and 6A, and when you talk about 8 teams making it out of, mid-30s, 36 teams, it's not as elite. And so, I mean, there's a lot of comments throughout the state on how they do things, and obviously the upper classes, most people favor with just sending every team into the bracket, right, giving everybody a chance. You do that in the smaller classes, it becomes much more difficult, a much more longer drawn-out process, if you will. So, I mean, there's some questions on how you would shake that out, but at the same time, I always feel like, 2A, obviously in baseball now it's 2-1A, but in 3A, it's just so much more difficult on making, state tournaments. And I think that goes not only in baseball and softball, but, sports across the year. So, to make it to that state tournament and see those names like Frontenac and Trinity and Topeka Hayden and now Heston and Sabetha, you're in good company.
Well, how do they do it? I mean, they've got, Frontenac's in. I don't know if Pittsburgh made it or not, but they're always really, really good. Mm-hmm. And then you have Colgan. So it's a fertile crescent of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
In southeast Kansas.
You look at, I put out a stat there that in Class 3A, Webby, since Class 3A had a division or a classification all by itself for baseball, and that started in 1996. Prior to 1996, it was 3-2-1A for baseball. Okay, so for the first time, started in 1996 with 3A all by itself. Since then, the farthest team west to win a state championship in 3A baseball is Lions in 2004. Nobody further west has won a state title in 3A baseball. And you can go across all the classifications. I don't have the stat on this. There are not many teams west of Wichita in baseball that have won a state championship. I know TMP has been in that mix. They've won a few titles in baseball. Holcomb won a state title in 2017. But the list doesn't go much further. I mean, Great Bend had that title in 95, but, the list doesn't go much further than that. So you can either say, one, there's not as many 3A schools that play baseball in the West. Those teams are starting to drop in numbers. Or two, and I think it's a combination, but this is pretty heavy, that the talents and just pure population really benefits sports like baseball and softball, and is a reason why you see Kansas City, Wichita, and Topeka schools, and you throw in Pittsburgh, but like those schools that continue to have success. So it's an East-dominated sport, I think, during the spring.
And then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, Pratt Skyline makes it. I'm a Pratt alumnus. I had no idea they had a baseball team. So
hey, things are on the up and up in Pratt Skyline. They just kind of build up your family's name.
Oh, yeah, but, they don't have a baseball. I don't know where they play their games. That's a good point. I'll have to go down there and maybe find out where the baseball field is. Okay, Cole Reif with us on the road. Sabetha Hoiston tonight, pregame around 5:30 on 100.7 Eagle Country. Feelings going in, Mr. Reif?
I feel good. I mean, I've been asked a couple times, and it's like, okay, Sabetha's good, and here's the thing, like, if you come out and tell me, hey, Sabetha's going to win the game, I'll be like, okay, I can see that. I know their talent. But here's my thing, like, are you going to bet against, like, Tony Moore on the mound? I can't do that. I mean, I haven't seen him all season long, but he's won 4 straight games.
Hell, you've never called a game that he's lost. I mean, what, 2?
In his career, they had a couple last year. Yeah, I mean, and then one this year in the state championship game.
Okay,
so,
well.
yeah, I mean, it's like I have a hard time betting against him on the mound. Like the worst that he was roughed up was that game against Heston in mid-April. He went 6 innings, gave up 10 hits and 4 runs, but he had 7 strikeouts in that. He's consistently had 7 or 8 strikeouts in all of his outings here as of late. So, like, I have a hard time betting against him on the mound. So then the next question would be, okay, hey, do they have enough offensive power to get by Sabetha's pitchers? Because, Sabetha has their own Tony Moores, like we mentioned, like Mitchell Kramer and Christian McAfee. So or Kramer Mitchell. So it's like, can they get past that? Can they find enough offensive power to put up a decent amount of runs? Because you look at the last few appearances, that's where Hoisington has struggled at state. Last year they scored 1 run against Humboldt. I mean, you go back years, different team, but they were shut out against Wichita Trinity when they went in 2006. They were shut out in 1998, 3-0 against Oxford, in Topeka, where it was hosted that year. So they haven't scored a whole lot of runs at the state tournament. So that's going to be the big thing. Can they get some offensive production later on tonight?
Cole Reif with the Nuggets here today, and I did not ask Tony this, and I really feel bad because I really wanted to know, how long has he had that mustache? I remember him in 8th grade having it. So, I mean, does it go on beyond that?
Well, he told me a story that he told his mom. They were driving the car somewhere, and he was in kindergarten.
And he had a mustache?
Out of the blue, he told his mom, he's like, I'm going to grow a mustache when I get older. So he's had this desire of the mustache since kindergarten. But when did it start? I don't remember his freshman year, to be honest. If it was,
he had
like
it then.
pencil drawn.
Well, yeah, it was like it was. You could see it. I mean, whether he was growing it that well or not.
Yeah, but the last 2 years, it's been steady.
It's like,
he goes into the category of some of the strongest mustaches in Hoisington, at least for football history. Bradley. He had a really good stash. Rudy Gerhardt had a really good stash, and now Tony Moore is in elite company.
All right, well, take care of business tonight when you go, just hanging out up there. Just go ahead and come up with your top 10 stashes in Hoisington sports history.
Well, I had the top 3, but I don't know beyond that. I'll have to look into that.
All right, get on your tweeter machine. The Cardinal fans can help you out. Okay, have a great call today, and good luck. Again, so you've lost 1 game all year. Of all your broadcasts. Of the male broadcasts.
Yeah, Hoisington football state championship game, then Barton basketball lost to Cali.
Okay, so that's 2.
That's 2. I've lost 2.
Man, get 2 championships in 1 year?
I'm telling you, I'm retiring. I'm retiring this year. Not going to get any better.
He's going to go out on top. Cole, thanks for joining us, and drive safe, and we'll listen to you later today.
Thanks, Webby.
From
All right, Cole Reif
Money
here on
Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Mike Corson joined today by Ellenwood senior Drew Hines, 2A state golf champion. Drew, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
So let's kind of walk through your career here. You've had a big career. Ellenwood got rid of its golf program. Do you know when they brought that back?
Yeah, we brought it back my freshman year because we knew we were going to have a good class this year. So we were trying to bring it back then because it shut down, I think, 3 or 4 years before that.
So, yeah, and so you go freshman. I believe you got 10th place at state, 2 runner-up finishes. Kind of what has your progression been personally?
Yeah, I've progressed a lot. I've got longer off the tee. I changed swing coaches, which helped a lot. And then I feel like my mental game's gotten a lot better from freshman to senior year.
So let's talk about this year. Well, let's go back 2 years real quick just because that one's interesting. Last year you lost it by 3 strokes to Sacred Heart's Michael Matucci. The year before that, though, 1 stroke. How devastating as a competitor to be that close to a state title?
That was really frustrating because we played 3 or 4 holes the second day until it was rained out, and I was in the lead by quite a bit. So it was a little frustrating for them to call it and then revert back to just the first day score.
So, yeah, so this year it's a 2-day deal. You're out at Dodge City this year. You guys got to golf there a couple times already. How big was that experience heading into state?
It helped a lot. I played there a couple times before this year, but just seeing how the course was set up earlier this spring, I think helped me and my teammates a lot. We kind of figured out how to chip out of the rough and how firm the greens were. So that experience helped us a lot at state.
Yeah, going in day one, obviously Michael Matucci, he wins it last year. You got second to him. You guys are golfing together because you're both regional champions. Come out and take like a 5-stroke lead after day one. What was your attitude going into day one this year?
It wasn't too hard, but I just wanted to play good golf, and I knew my good golf would set me up good. After one day, I didn't expect to go 5 under, but I knew I was playing good at the time.
And what's it like? You've probably got your best competitor at the state meet there golfing right next to you. You can see exactly what he's doing. You guys feed off each other. How does that work dynamically?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk to each other, but I was feeding off the energy of just playing good and him not playing as good, and we'd trade back and forth between holes. But yeah, it was a fun environment.
Yeah, a lot of state championships are decided in an hour or so. You get all overnight to think about what you've got to do the next day. What was the attitude coming into that second day?
It was just to stick to my game plan I had going into the week. I mean, I use this thing called the Decade System. So it's just a course management system that helps me hit the highest percentage of shots. So I stuck to that even after the first day of going that low. I did that the second day, and I hit the ball well and just finished it out.
Talking to Ellenwood senior Drew Hines, probably graduated, but state golf champion in Class 2A. Yeah, a lot higher scores on day 2. We talking weather there, nerves, what was going on game 2? Because it was across the board, not just you.
Yeah, the wind was 15-30 all day, and they tucked a few pins, so putting was much more difficult. So I feel like that raised the scores mainly.
And what was the setup on day 2? You've got the lead. Are you playing it any safer, either when it comes to putts or long drives, playing it safe?
I tried to just lag putts up close to the hole instead of maybe trying to make them a little bit more. But honestly, that might have hurt me because I missed a few lag putts. I didn't get them close enough, and then I ended up 3-putting, so that probably hurt me more than it helped me.
And then do you get to see where your best competition is, or did they split you guys up for day 2?
We played together again because the top 3 teams after day 1 play together again, so I was able to play with Matucci again.
And so, yeah, state champion for you, so that's great. But the Eagles, got to set the tone here. Sacred Heart has won 9 straight titles now, and they kind of ran away with it, so that really wasn't a question. But 2nd, 3rd, and 4th was wide open. How did the guys feed off you, or did you feed off them, or what was the team attitude going into that day 2?
Yeah, they were kind of feeding off me just because I played so well, but they knew they had to put their part in on the second day because I probably wasn't going to shoot that well again, and I was really impressed. They all battled and shot a pretty good score in a lot tougher conditions in the second day to secure that second place.
Yeah, so if you think back 4 years ago, you wouldn't have had this opportunity. Just how great that Coach Maxwell and USD 355 brought this opportunity back for you guys.
Yeah, I was super excited when they brought it back, and it was just last 4 years have been a lot of fun playing with my friends and just playing for Maxwell.
And where do you head after high school?
I'm going to play at Dodge City Community College.
Funny, yeah, you win the state championship at Dodge City. What are you looking forward most to golfing at the collegiate level?
Really just competing with other good golfers every single day, and playing that golf course every day I feel like will make me a lot better than just playing out at Ellenwood every single day. So I think I should be able to improve my game and then just also compete with other really good golfers around the state and around the country.
Ellenwood's Drew Hines, congratulations, the Class 2A state golf champion. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
More Sports Day after this.
Get ahead or catch up this summer with Barton Online. With 5 convenient sessions to choose from, Barton Online is the perfect fit for your summer goals and budget. At just $155 per credit hour, it's an affordable option for everyone. Financial aid options are available for qualifying students. Now enrolling for all sessions. Get started on your future today. Learn more at online.bartoncccc.edu.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Amy Herrera, Regional Retail Manager for your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many people navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you how we're committed to serving you in our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like A-STEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows that A-STEM therapy improves muscle performance and neurofunctioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
He's been the voice of the Tigers for over 20 years, much longer than Wyatt Thompson, Steve Webster, and the legendary Bob Davis. And he's not even that old yet. Here's Gerard Wellbrock.
Gerard Wellbrock joining the show. You know, that's the first thing you did when you became voice of the Tigers, wasn't it?
What's that?
Because I like to use Welcome to the Jungle music for my intros for Tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the first thing you did, but
we mixed it up, and it kind of became a thing.
Well, but then you started playing Pittsburgh State again all the time, and that's kind of what they did.
Yeah, and they kind of had always done that, so there was that too. But when we first started doing it, it was just, let's play this before every game broadcast, and then let's do it again, and then it became people. Cause I'll have people run up. Yeah, I had the Tiger. I thought that's a weird time to be playing. It was just playing on the radio. So I guess it's been effective. It's kind of that muscle memory.
Well, I had more people than that come up and tell me that they really liked.
Well, I'm sure you did. They liked you better too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Shocking at all.
Yeah,
not shocking at all.
All those people that like me, they're gone now. So that's how long you've been the voice of the Tigers. How are you doing, Gerard?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm still here. I'm still here, so that's good.
That's good. That's step one.
Okay, getting ready to go into the summer hiatus here on Sports Day.
Well, of course you're doing well. You're about to go on vacation.
Shh.
I
have to do so many things around here. Okay.
I'm sure you do. Yes. Yes.
Gerard Walbrock, voice of the 4-Day State Tigers, joins us on Sports Day throughout the year. Okay, looking back at this year, highlights, just top of your head, highlights for the Tigers this year.
Well, I think you start with football, the bounce back after 2 disappointing seasons, getting the 7 wins, and then you could see the marked improvement, and you feel good about where the Tiger football program is headed. So I think that was first and foremost. That was a big one. Both basketball programs, obviously the women knew they'd be pretty good, and they lived up to it. They just ran into a buzzsaw in the NCAA, which happens, but they had a great year. And then basketball, Mark Johnson getting the men's team back to the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's not easy. We chronicled all the reasons why, but reality is reality. But to get it back, and it's been nice to win a game. I think for the men, that's the next thing. Win an NCAA game, but I mean, you took on a returning Elite Eight team that had most of their squad back. You got beat on the last second shot and played great. I think you had a great showing that you were among the best in the region, and nothing to be ashamed of there. So the fact they got back to the tournament is big, and they're gonna have a lot of guys back, and feel they'll have a chance to contend again next year to do it again. And then I think the baseball program, even though they won 25, I think they felt they should have won 30, but that's 2 years in a row now, 20-plus wins, which maybe doesn't sound like much, but when you had back-to-back single-digit win seasons, I think that's a big turnaround. And again, they had about 3 weeks where they played poorly, or they probably get to 30 wins, and they've got pretty much everybody back. So I think they feel they've got a legit chance. Again, it comes down to pitching, but a good chance to make another step and get to the upper half of the conference, and maybe host a first-round conference tournament series and see where that leads. So I think if I had to pick just highlights that stand out, those would be the ones right there.
What would be the coolest thing to happen for Fort Hays State next year? I mean, just on the Gerard Walbrock wish list.
Well, we'll start with the top. If football can get back to the playoffs and win a playoff game, never been done before, that would be pretty cool. I think, as I said, if Mark Johnson could win an NCAA tournament game and maybe make a run, I think that'd be fun. Obviously, men or women getting to an Elite Eight would be really cool. That hasn't happened in a long, long time. And especially the women, they've been so close. They've had bad luck. They've had things that, we've seen it in sports. To do that, it takes some luck. It does. You have to have things go your way. You have to avoid injury. And unfortunately, some of their teams in the last 10 years haven't been able to avoid the key injury, and it's cost them. And I think, quite honestly, the women have had 2 teams I think legitimately could have a big banner and a big trophy at the Coliseum for winning it all, but they had some injuries, and that's part of the deal. But if one of them can make an Elite Eight, I think would be big, because making the tournament, especially for the women, that's almost expected now. And the men, I mean, it's expected every now and then because I think it's just so tough. But getting to an Elite Eight would be a big feather in the cap for everybody for one of those 2 programs.
Gerard Walbrock with us here on. You all right? You're not trying to walk across the street right now?
No, I'm actually outside right now.
Oh, okay.
So. Yeah, it's a nice day, so yeah.
Okay, you get a little bit old. I remember there's 3 generations of leagues here that I can remember. CSIC, right? Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference and the MIAA. So when Fort Hays was in the RMAC. They had some success. I mean, they won a national championship with basketball. They got to the NCAA Division II playoffs, the NAIA playoffs finally in 1989, and then became a member of the MIAA, and was kind of like, well, okay, now they're coming over from the RMAC. How are they going to stand up? So all these years later, now they've been in the MIAA. How is Fort Hays thought of around the league as an athletic program?
I think they're respected, and I think everybody, they've had success in all the sports to where you have to play well, and if you don't, they're going to beat you. Fort Hays doesn't have some of the advantages some of the other places do, but in some regards, they've won more than those places. But I think they're a solid member. They've shown they're competitive in everything. And so, some years you're not in certain sports, obviously, but by and large, they're competitive with everything. They're always going to be at a disadvantage to some of the schools. But I think you can say that about schools and conferences across the country. You're not going to always have the budget, the location. Division II's become a big geography is big, and just the way recruiting goes. And unfortunately, there's less population out here, so that makes it a little bit more challenging. So it's, that's always going to be an issue, but I think they're a solid member and obviously have won enough, and they've won conference titles in a lot of different sports. So I think they're solidly entrenched. It's always a challenge. Always a challenge, and I think the next one's going to be the NIL. It hasn't hit Division II, but it's coming eventually. The further we go, and that's going to be the next big challenge is the money and all those things for that aspect of it. It probably won't be obviously the level Division I is, but that's going to be the next thing on the horizon, I think.
Let's talk about a program that we don't talk about a lot at all, and we have a lot of area athletes come around here. The Robinsons from Schmitz from Hoisington. The track and field program, which we don't talk about, but you talk about legacy and tradition. That's right up there at Fort Hays State history. They've had a long line of track and field tradition.
Track and field, cross country, absolutely. And Jason McCullough has done a good job of taking over what Jim Crubb did, and I think 9 in competing in the national championships this weekend in Emporia. They've had their fair share of national champs. So Jason's done a good job, and it doesn't always get the pub, the notoriety, the everything, other sports like football and basketball. But Fort Hays State's done a great job. And again, we look at the MIAA. They're in the heart of Pittsburgh State wins the indoor. They're going to be contending for the outdoor. There's some good track and field teams in the MIAA. You look at some of the indoor facilities. 2 of the best in the country are in the conference, and I heard Central Missouri's trying to build one just like Washburn. So, it's tough. There's the arms race and track and field. It's crazy how that is, but Jason's done a tremendous job, and they're able to get a lot of local talent and do great things with them and help them throughout their time. And it's track and field. There's not always a lot of scholarship money. You get a lot of athletes who do it for the love of it and have had some great success.
Jason McCullough. He's the original designer of the Iuka Hustler.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I knew that.
Yeah, he put the big block letters, Iuka on the front of the, Arkansas Monticello Boll Weevil that is actually the Hustler mascot.
Yeah.
But he was a handy young lad in sports information. Now look at him. Gee, many Christmas.
Well, here's my beef on Jason. I like Jason. But I'm doing, shortly after you had left, and he was the SID after you had left, and I'm doing a baseball game, and I park where I parked forever at Larks Park.
What?
Yeah,
he didn't tell you.
So I parked the same spot, and he turns around and goes, "Man, you park close." I said, "Jason, I've been parking there for 10 years, whatever it was. You know what's coming." 2 batters later, I don't remember his name, but he was a left-handed hitting catcher from New Mexico Highlands. Hits a foul ball, and I'm like, huh, and I see the reaction. I go, that hit my back. He goes, oh, your back window's shattered. So I still hold that grudge. If he wouldn't have said anything, my car doesn't get hit.
It's just baseball. You mention it, it's going to happen. You mention it, it's going to happen.
Yep, and so 2 batters later, it did. So it's his fault.
Well, it shows you.
He's done a great job. He's been remarkable.
The balding Jason McCullough. I like it. Okay. Hey, Gur, thanks for joining us all year. Have a good summer. We'll talk to you again when we get close to football season.
Well, it's going to get here quick. I'm looking forward to it.
Gerard Welbrock, voice the Tigers here on Sports Day.
Don't want to be tied down by a wireless contract? Get the service you deserve with NextTech Wireless Advance Pay. There's no contracts and no credit checks. Plus, you can get unlimited talk and text with 22 gigabytes of high-speed data for only $25 a month. Make the switch now and get a device on us. NextTech Wireless. Home on the range.
Get the power you need for your farm equipment. The power of peace of mind that dependable Cenex lubricants deliver. With decades of proven off-road performance, backed by the industry-leading Cenex Total Protection Plan warranty. Cenex heavy-duty diesel engine oils, hydraulic fluids, gear lubricants, and greases are formulated to provide superior protection for load-bearing equipment. The power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Are you a Class A CDL driver looking for a new opportunity? Venture Corporation is looking to hire several current valid Class A CDL drivers. And here are some great facts about driving for Venture Corporation that you will definitely enjoy. Higher pay, even higher pay if you have a hazmat endorsement. You'll be driving nice trucks, have more flexible hours, home most nights, and seldom any weekend work. Ready to team up with a homegrown, family-owned, and local company? Don't wait. Call Leslie at Venture Corporation today.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Day. Steve Webster, Mike Hesher left with you here in the studio. I like these shows. I mean, this is, of course, we have tomorrow, and then we'll have Tuesday, and that'll wrap up Sports Day till we come back in mid-August to get you ready for the football season. But it's kind of like the last week of school, Hesh. You know,
a little more relaxed.
It's a little bit more relaxed. You know, we get into things.
You talk nothing specific with Gur, but it was entertaining.
Okay, well, thank you. All right. Lady Panthers lose today, 14-5 to Spring Hill to 5A state softball tournament. They were ahead 5-4 going to the bottom of the fifth inning against the number one seed. Congratulations to Kerry Mint and the Lady Panthers on a fantastic season. Later today, around 5:30, Cole Rife will have the call on 100.7 Eagle Country. Cardinals taking on Sabetha. If they would win, they would play tomorrow in the semifinals at 1:15. And remember, if that happens, those games, the two games tomorrow would be on Hits 106.9. That's because we have state track over here. Putting the wraps on another good year. No Royals baseball tonight. Hesh can let his fingernails grow just a little bit before he starts gnawing on them on Friday when they take on the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Sports Day here on KVGB.